Go.
Welcome to Grandma's Country Cottage and Self-Reliance. A group of us grandmas got together and decided, you know what? We are just going to teach the younger generation and each other some of the things that we've learned through living life's experiences. And I got the pantry, which means I get to have a cooking show. So the whole idea of this class and this section on our website is store what you eat and eat what you store. It's not hard to cook from scratch as long as you have everything. And if we're going to store our food, we can't fit 25 boxes of cold cereal and call that good. So today we're going to learn how to make one of my grandchildren's favorite meals, which is, we live by a farm, which is cornmeal pancakes. So I am making the mix. So here's 12 cups of flour. I'm going to add 6 cups of cornmeal. Flour is such a basic. You need to have several hundred pounds of flour on hand. Cornmeal, you can get it in 50-pound bag or higher if you want, and on the website it'll tell about some places to get it at. And the mix takes 1.5 cups of sugar, and I've already cut it down. You can cut it down more if you want, but that's where it's at now. And baking powder. Baking powder is another staple to have on hand. And you can get large containers at Sam's Club, Costco, several places should have the baking powder. And I use baking powder from my mother's, which had to be 50 years old and it was still good. So don't worry about it, it'll be good. So I have a cup of baking powder, 1.5 cups of powdered eggs. Unless you have chickens and you want to throw in fresh eggs, leave the powdered eggs out. And I'm just going to throw in the 1.5 tablespoons of salt, sea salt. And the whey, I used to buy whey by the 50-pound bag from Gosner's when it was $11 for a 50-pound bag, but I don't think they sell it anymore because all of a sudden it got really healthy, so that opened a whole new market. But powdered milk works too, and I'm going to put these in there. Who wants to come across a lump of powdered egg when you're eating your pancake? Or baking powder as far as that goes. So I'm just sifting it all in there. And then I'm going to mix it all together. Double check and make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Because I found that I have to make a mix. I have to be ready to cook breakfast on the spur of the moment. And who knows how many grandkids I might have here to eat. It could be 10, and they could be teenagers. The other day when I was feeding some teenage kids and I fed him pancakes and I said, have you had enough? And he looked at me, well, I'll call 15 pancakes good. So you never know how many you're going to have to make. So that's why it's good to have just the mix. And I'm going to stir it up good. So cornmeal, I just bought a 50-pound bag from Apple Creek Amish Market. That was in Willard. Powdered eggs come at Macy's and other places that have some food. Sea salt, I always use sea salt. And I checked around for bulk, but that's really expensive too. And it was hardly any difference than getting this at Sam's Club. So I got a whole case of this and it's already in the shaker. And we're going to just mix that up, and I think I got everything in it. I usually keep this in a storage container, which empty ice cream buckets make that good. So, basic baking powder, salt, sugar, flour, baking soda. These are things that if you have on hand in large containers, because they last forever, not really much of a shelf life, then you can make things like this and have it all ready. Okay, now we're going to move this over. And I'm going to say, oh, I have to make breakfast for a whole bunch of kids. So I'm going to plug in my frying pan. I'm going to show you how easy. This is how easy it is to start right with it. The recipe for one is to 1/2 cups of mix. Oh, I only had 1/4. I might get me new measuring cups out of all of this. 2.5 cups of mix, 1.5 cups of water, and you'd put in a fresh egg if you didn't use the egg mix, and 1/4 cup of oil. I'm very fussy with my oil. No bad oils at this place. I'll spend the money and use olive oil, even on grandkids with pancakes. Okay, I'm just going to mix this up. And this is when you can go, you know what, we like our pancakes a little bit thinner. No, I want a little bit thicker. It's no big deal. Just adjust it. A little more water, a little less mix, whatever you want. Want to mix it up good. And we're ready to fry some, but I know the pan's not hot enough. So we're going to make some cinnamon syrup. And this is absolutely their very favorite. So it's a big recipe. It's a big recipe, and it's already been cut down with as far as sugar goes, but you have to have a big pan. Now, first of all, you melt a cube plus 6 tablespoons of butter, which I did ahead of time because I'm a cooking show, and it calls for 2 cups of buttermilk. Well, I don't care for buttermilk, so I never have that on hand. But all you have to do is add 1 tablespoon per cup of milk of vinegar. And in just a couple of minutes that coagulates and does its thing. Now vinegar, even though you might not use it a lot, is another essential in storage. I use probably 95% of my vinegar for cleaning. So vinegar and water in a spray bottle goes a long way, so don't forget your vinegar. Okay, the butter. See if that has enough time. And what's the sugar? I think I've got 1.5 cups. Whatever the recipe says, that's what I've got here. I'm adding butter. Let me see if it's coagulated at all. See? You see some little lumps there? This is called buttermilk. It adds a lot to your cooking. So now I'm going to turn the heat up, and we're going to stir this. Obviously, if it's cinnamon and syrup, we're going to add cinnamon to it. And my favorite place to get bulk spices is San Francisco Herb Company. They're so easy to order from. They ship it to you, comes to your door. This is Saigon cinnamon powder, and it is very, very tasty. It comes in packages like this. I stick it in my quart jars. I label all my quart jars that have my spices in on the top, and then if you come around here, there's all my spices right at my hands. Everything's alphabetical by, this is my cooking spices, and these are my sweet spices over here. I can easily get it, mix it in. I think the only reason cooking by scratch takes time is because you either don't have all the ingredients or you can't find all the ingredients. So in our pantry, it's organized. We're going to bring this to a boil and boil it for just about 2 minutes is all. Then we'll add the cinnamon, and we will add the vanilla and the baking soda. Baking soda is also another staple. You want to have baking soda, baking powder, salt, flour, and your spices that you use. You won't find any curry spice in my house because Grandpa does not like curry. But if you love curry, store curry. That's the whole idea of this. Store what you eat and then eat what you store. And by far, you will be healthier, especially if a lot of that stuff you store comes right from your garden. Oh, the watch pot never boils. Another place to get bulk things is just go online and check. Like I say, I ordered from the Amish store. They were so nice. It was so fun to order from them. And I think I've got a couple of places here listed. If you live in Utah, there are 2 outlet discount stores which right now happen to have 50-pound bags of oatmeal, and they are half the price. And sometimes a discount store will have a little bit older, that's why they're trying to move it, but the oatmeal does come from Honeywell grain, and I had some of my own oatmeal downstairs that was very old, and so I compared it to my old oatmeal to the oatmeal that I bought. I could taste a little bit of old, not rancid, but kind of old in my oatmeal, but didn't taste it at all in theirs. Sam's Club and Costco, they also have larger things, and sometimes if you can't find it in the store, you will find it there. Cooking show should have started cooking this a little bit sooner. There it all comes to a nice boil. Now when we take it off, we're going to add the cinnamon and the vanilla and then the baking soda. So think back to science projects. What's going to happen when I add that baking soda in here? That's why I have such a big pan, because we're going to get a reaction. And it fluffs up so nice. The other day when I made pancakes, I had a little grandson and he was licking his plate. Can you believe that? And I says, honey, instead of licking your plate, just get another pancake. Which he did. Okay. Think that looks good enough? Sometimes food looks so pretty. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to put in, sprinkle in my 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I kind of like to stir that in a little bit before I add the vanilla. Don't want any clumps of cinnamon, although I'll take a clump of cinnamon over a clump of baking powder anytime. So, and then comes the baking soda. Also get baking soda in big cans, big containers. I know I've seen them in like 13-pound bags. Go for it, because if you've got it in the pantry, there's a lot you can make and do with it. And 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And then I'm going to stir that up. And then our science project comes. This is why we had to have a bigger pan. And it's ready to eat, just like that. Okay, we are set. I'm going to make a couple of pancakes. Sometimes I use a spray, sometimes I don't, but I want it to turn out right. And if I do spray it, I only spray it once. I don't have to spray it again the whole time I make the pancakes. And you want your pan good and hot when you make pancakes. You probably can't hear it sizzle, but it's sizzling. Probably could have been even a little hotter. And I've got it at about 375. And it's fun to make little shapes or hearts. Whatever, oh, let's see, the BB-8s, those are fun to make. Little pancake and a big pancake, and you've got BB-8. Okay, now as you notice the pancake, it's starting to bubble on the top, and the bubble breaks. So you want it to just cook about that long. And you can see with the whole mix on hand, I can feed as many people as there are in the house at any time, because I've got enough. And it becomes quicker than almost any other meal you can think of. Oh, I'm rushing it a little bit. Let's cook it up just a tiny bit more. Have you ever heard that the first pancakes are always the worst? And that's why there's the saying of they're a pancake child. They take not good till the second one. See how pretty and golden that is? Raises up so nice. And you can use part white flour, part whole wheat flour. I have another recipe for pancake mix that's totally whole wheat and oatmeal. So all kinds of different things. All right, I'll grab a little plate here. And we will be ready. And we are just building a website right now called Grandma's Country Cottage, where you will find information about not only the kitchen, the pantry, the garden, the medicine cabinet. We have got a lot going on. Okay, let's come over here. If I've got a good spoon. The kids love the bubble part. Of course, it's thinner syrup underneath, but you can serve it that fast. And I don't know, in a cooking show, do they ever taste it? I'm gonna have a taste. See how nice and fluffy? Mmm. No wonder the grandkids like this. All right, we're on YouTube and we have a website page and hope to see you again.